Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Brenda McClellan, and I am the Director of Investor Relations with Traverse Connect. And today we are with Les and Catherine, and we're going to be talking about culinary school advantages and making them work for you. And Les Eckert is the Culinary Director at Great Lakes Culinary Institute at NMC, Northwestern Michigan College. She's certified by the American Culinary Federation, and Les is a certified executive pastry chef, a certified culinary educator, and a member of the American Academy of Chefs. Les has been in the hospitality industry for over 25 years, working in restaurants, hotels, and being a business owner, as well as in higher education for almost 15 years as an instructor and program creator and director. And we also have with us today Catherine Claerhout. She is NMC's Director of Admissions. Catherine is originally from Trufant, a small Danish community in central Michigan. She earned both her undergraduate and graduate degrees from Ferris State University and was also employed by Ferris for over 15 years in the admissions and registrar's office. She has worked in admissions for Ferris State, Davenport University, and a number of proprietary schools. So thanks for being with us today, Les and Catherine. And Les, I'll let you start the conversation if you'd like.
Great, thank you, Brenda. You make me sound so important.
You have quite the credentials. I want to know what it's like to eat with you at dinner time.
So thank you so much for creating these webinars. I think it's really important when you're seeking out small tidbits of information about very specific topics. So I really appreciate that I'm here today to be able to talk to you all, and that we actually have 3 more of these webinars lined up over the next few months. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I have a few slides that I would love to share with you all. And of course, that's when now it's not working.
I know we practiced this morning and everything worked just fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. So let's see here. I'm going to stop, share, and
so the culinary program and things to do with that. But I'm actually going to talk to you about the Michigan Reconnect Scholarship. Now, you may have heard in the news regarding Future for Frontliners. That scholarship is still available for those that applied. They'll be able to get that for all of this year. But the new one that is coming out that kind of coincides with Future for Frontliners is called Michigan Reconnect. And this will be available starting February 1st. So I did want to get through and talk to you a little about it. So it's a little bit different than Future for Frontliners, but similar in some aspects of it. So this is a scholarship that financial aid for students that live in the state of Michigan and are primarily over the age of 25. So it provides students with tuition-free access to pursue the associate's degree or an occupational certificate. So, and they can do it for up to 4 years. They have to utilize the degree so they can go part-time through it. So here are some of the criteria for the scholarships. You need to be 25 years old, be a Michigan resident, have graduated high school, be in a degree granting program, and you can't have earned an associate's degree or bachelor's degree already, and you also can't be in default of any student loans. If you are, we'll talk to you about how to get them out of default so we can get you eligible for the scholarship. So it starts, the Michigan Reconnect will actually start here summer semester, that they can start taking courses. And you have to be at least part-time. So that means 6 credit hours, which is generally 2 classes. And so you have to take credits, and they will transfer on depending if they're college level or not. But you'll also want to see if you've attended someplace else another college to get those transcripts to us so we can help you aid to get you that that degree quicker, sooner, faster. So we're here to help you navigate all the way through that process. I can kind of show you a little bit about what it's like. Just to know that our summer semester, which is the first semester that you can start, starts May 8th and goes through October 9th. I can tell you that summer semester is probably one of our trickiest semesters because we have literally 42 different starts. So the key to summer semester, the dates I've given you here are our main session starting, is really to go out and look at our catalog to see when classes are starting. Classes tend to be a little bit faster paced in a summer semester, which means that they can finish in 8 weeks instead of your typical 15-week. Fall semester will start on August 28th, and I'm crossing my fingers like this because I really, really want us to be face-to-face in fall semester. So we're kind of face-to-face right now, but not sort of, if everybody understands what that means. So 3 steps to getting started to the scholarship is that you need to complete the Michigan Reconnect Scholarship application. That is not available until February 1st. That'll be out on our website, and you can go to the Michigan's website as well to get that. You need to apply to NMC if you're not a current student already, and you need to have completed the FAFSA if you haven't done that already. So those are 3 things to get you started, get you on the road to success here. So the Michigan Reconnect Scholarship, you'll be able to apply for the scholarship at michigan.gov. You actually will create an account when you're out there with them so that you can log back in to see the status of your application. I log into that site kind of on a daily basis, so I can let people know pretty quickly if they're eligible or not eligible or what's holding up that eligibility. So I can let them know. For our NMC application, you just go to the home page. It's right there smack dab in the middle. It says apply now for free. We will need all of your high school transcripts, your college transcripts, or any or all test scores to help you through the admissions process. We do have placement testing, which lets us know where to start you out in college level English, math, because those are kind of our gateway classes to all the other classes that you may need for your academic program. You can call us or you can call right here. We actually will update that Frontliners to Michigan Reconnect as well. They'll probably both go into the same place, which is the admissions email box. The FAFSA, a student can go to FAFSA.gov and fill that out. That is, by the way, the free application for student federal aid. So this will let us know if a student's eligible for any additional grants or scholarships on top of the Michigan Reconnect. And for students, they may need additional documentation, and our staff will help you fill out that FAFSA if you're unsure about it. The FAFSA has changed in the past couple of years. You can now fill it out in October instead of waiting for January 1st. And it's based on prior year taxes. So you're going back 2 years. So right now, students would go back to the year 2018 for their tax information. Okay. What does the scholarship cover? So this will give you a great idea about what you can expect. For students who live in Grand Traverse County, it'll cover our tuition and fees at the in-district rate, which currently right now is $109 per contact hour. The online course mat fees and course fees are not part of the fees that are covered. So students will need to recognize that that will be additional fees that they need to have covered. That's why applying for FAFSA and getting other grants and scholarships will help out on this. Students who live out of district, so they're not living in Grand Traverse County, are going to pay out of district tuition. The state will pay for only in-district tuition. So that student has to cover the gap in between. So you can see 109, and this is 227. They would need to make up that difference. Again, that is why they need to file for the FAFSA. So any other dollars that can come in for them, they can apply towards their out-of-district tuition fees. Of course, we already talked about online and course map fees are not included. And then we have some additional fees that we have for our institution, which is $30.50. It's a general fee, and that covers a bunch of different things, as you can see: technology, orientation, placement, career testing, all of these different things that a student is charged. So the Michigan Reconnect does not cover those fees as well. Okay, so just one thing I want to put out here for you guys to understand is that our board of trustees last summer, when COVID struck and we were all hit with this pandemic, they made the conscious decision to not raise tuition. We generally raise tuition every July. We did not. So all of these calculations are the same as they are. We'll see what we come up with when we come up to July 1 this year, if they will increase our tuition rates. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything lately on this, but we talk about our budgeting happens in February. There are some additional fees that students need to remind themselves that they have out there. We call these indirect fees or indirect costs, which are your books and supplies, which I will tell you, NMC's done a fantastic job in keeping our book prices down. And a lot of our instructors utilize no books. They utilize what we call our books online, or we utilize the internet for everything that we're doing. So the cost of books has really gone down from when I was in college a long time ago. You need to make sure that you've got access to technology and you can get onto the internet, because right now our classes are offered via live stream or online or a hybrid of the two. So with the pandemic, we do have a couple programs that are still meeting face-to-face, but it's only a couple in there. And you'll also need to plan for childcare if you don't have that already set up. And I think that's where I've got all of my things, and I can answer any questions, or we can hop over to Les if she wants to go. But real quick, let me give a shout out to Shannon Friedgen on the line. I taught her everything she knows.
That's funny. Does anyone have any questions before we hand the conversation over to Les? Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today, Catherine.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Les?
Yay.
Take it away.
So just a quick question of the people who are listening. I would love to know, are you business owners? Are you managers, supervisors in the industry? Quickly, what's the group representing?
I'm an HR manager for a charity public that focuses on recruiting for all of the work groups that we have over the summertime.
Yes.
Hi.
Leah, so nice to put a face to the name.
Yeah, hi.
I work with Leah as well in HR at Cherry Republic, and I'm the main recruiter.
Wahoo, Kelly.
Woo!
Alyssa?
Hi, Les.
Hey.
I'm a communication consultant, and I work from home. You had my daughter in school the last couple of years, Madison.
Yes.
I just end up connecting a lot of people, so I wanted to hear what you all do.
Great. Again, nice to put a face to the name.
Hey Les, I'm just here to learn more about this because we're trying to develop a program to work with your students.
That's great. Okay, well, see, that's good. That helps me decide how to present this information. So put together some plain facts about what's happening in our industry. Restaurants change every day, but the demand for a skilled chef is constant. restaurant owners, managers want to have somebody on the line or who's got those creative juices, but they're paired with passion. So these statistics from the US Bureau of Labor came out right before COVID hit. So the Bureau of Labor reported the median annual income for head chefs at about $51,500 a year. So $51,500 a year. And 70% of employers do require general managers and executive chefs to have some sort of culinary or pastry degree or certificate, because those jobs will lead to further management within those companies. And 69% of employers who were surveyed preferred to have supervisors and lead cooks who also had a culinary or pastry degree or certificate. So that is one of the reasons why when we talk to prospective students and they're trying to decide what they want to do, we talk about, while school helps you push yourself into the industry, those certificates and degrees are also really lining you up for the next 5 to 10 years, because then thereafter that, your experience takes over. So Brenda, if you could move to the next slide, that'd be great.
And Jay Faust, I'm sorry, I don't know your first name. Would you like to I didn't see her face on my screen because it's showing such little.
Sorry,
so we
Jay.
have one more person. Yeah, Jenny, is it? Oh, she's on mute. Oh, there you go.
Hey, my name is Jamie.
Jamie. So Jamie's with Human Development for Oriana Community Co-op.
All right. We like Oriana.
All right.
So the next thing I want to talk about is trade schools versus four-year colleges. And when I say trade schools, I'm also talking about the two-year colleges, the two-year degree colleges that are offering the certificate, diploma, and the two-year degrees in trades. So trade schools give you that specific training. The instructors are usually coming right out of the industry, or they're currently still in the industry. So you have industry professionals teaching the classes. At trade schools and two-year programs, you're getting hard skills. You're more often than not getting a lower tuition, and you earn a good salary sooner because you're walking into the industry with those trade skills that help bump yourself into your job and your career. And compared to those four-year colleges, as we know, they offer a much broader education. The timeline is a lot longer to earn that degree. You're learning more soft skills during that time at a four-year college. You usually walk away with a larger student debt. However, four-year colleges do have a higher lifetime earning record when you look at statistics. So there is definitely a need for trade schools, any type of career programs, especially when we have a decline in our economy. That's more often when people want to come to school to strengthen their skills so they're ready to go back out in the workforce. So that's just a little look at the difference between that trade school and four-year colleges. So why is a culinary or a pastry degree or certificate valuable? And what can that degree or certificate do for you? So for the person who's going to earn a degree or a certificate in culinary or pastry, as a graduate, you're possessing a certain level of knowledge right at the start. You're exposed to multiple chef instructors and their knowledge. Often, if somebody's walking into the industry with no training, their knowledge is coming from one or two people for as long as they have that job, which might be a year, 2 years, 5 years. So your knowledge is very narrow, your knowledge exposure. But when you go to a culinary school and every semester, so every 5 months, you're exposed easily to about 4 different chefs, and that's continually rotating. So you're really picking up on tips and tricks and different knowledge. Also, can you go back one?
So sorry.
That's okay.
And I've interrupted Carson, which is really Christy. There's another person on here that I missed, a restaurant owner. So, and I asked Cherry Hut Restaurant in Beulah. So I think we've got everybody.
Okay. When you earn a degree or a certificate, your resume is less likely to get passed up by employers, especially if you are moving into a new town. You know, when you're working from different locations within the same town, employers can start looking at which locations you worked at. They know that particular location and maybe the quality. But once you move into a new town, those things on that resume, it's a little harder to know what that background is of that applicant versus if you see that you've already got that training on your resume. Your degree helps you set the tone of your future in the industry. If I'm walking in with that degree or that certificate on my resume, it shows that I'm serious about where I want to go with this job, turning it into a career. You're more likely to promote yourself when you've put in the work to earn that degree or certificate. You're also more likely to be creative more rapidly because you don't have the fear of the unknown of exploring new options in your job. You're also like, hey, I remember doing that in class and I remember how to research it and remind myself how to do that. So you're more open to be experimental. You're more likely to increase your salary, and you're more likely to earn your culinary certifications quicker. Certifications, while that's not necessarily part of going to culinary school, for our program it is, American Culinary Federation certifies chefs and pastry chefs at all different levels. And that certification, while it's not required, if you do earn one, you have to recertify every 5 years, which means you have to show that you've stayed up with your required sanitation, supervision, nutrition information, and you have to stay up with continuing education. And you have to prove that you've not lost your edge, and you have to show your employment. So it shows that you're keeping up with your skills. Therefore, you may hold a job that the title is executive chef, but if you're not certified as an executive chef and you leave, you're no longer an executive chef because that was your job title. But if you certify, you are certifying your skills. So when you look at that on a resume, it's very important. And culinary school gets you to your certification faster. So what can GLCI culinary and pastry programs offer you a chance to do? So I already have experience. Why should I go to school? We get that a lot from people who come. I'm already working in the workforce. Why do I want to do this? And it was interesting. Right before COVID, I had toured a current employer. He was looking to open a new location here in Traverse City, and he had never gone to culinary school. And he talked about how many years it took him to get to this point. And as he walked around and I toured the kitchens with him, he said, wow, I would come back to school just so I can learn more about that, because that subject that happens in that kitchen, because he had never had that training. So sometimes, even though you're in the workforce, when you come to one of our programs, you get a chance to develop a well-rounded foundation of culinary and pastry skills. Even if you're coming in specifically for culinary, you're still exposed to pastry. And a lot of savory chefs miss the mark on their skills in pastry because they're afraid of it. They fear it. I'm never going to bake a cake. Well, I'm sure as soon as somebody very important on your staff calls out, you've got to bake the cake. Or I'll tell my students, you don't want to be on Top Chef and be booted off because you had to make dessert and you flopped. Also, our programs give you a chance to learn proper technique and execution. you start learning where your skills currently taper off. So with prospective students coming in from the workforce with X amount of years of experience, we know they don't want to start at the very beginning in professional cookery and learn how to hold a knife and make sauces. I'm going to bet you those workforce employees already have those skills. So we offer a chance for those prospective students for a small price to come in and take a written test and take a practical test that belongs to that particular course that they're thinking they could possibly test out of. And then that way, if they do test out of it, we look at the option of proficiency credit, and then we can get those workforce employees to actually start right at where their current skills taper off. When you come to one of our programs, you immerse yourself in new subject matters and experiences. We've had a lot of students who are like, I don't ever want to work the front of the house. That's just, no, I just want to cook. But then when they work at Lobdell's and they take the restaurant class, they have to work through a rotation of different stations, which includes the front of the house. And then they start realizing, wow, I really like this, or I now understand how much the front of the house impacts what I want to do in the kitchen. So while they might still walk away going, front of the house, no thank you, they really have had a chance to experience that, and they understand the impact that it makes on their success. You also enhance your soft skills while you're in one of our programs. You learn how to talk to your food, You learn how to talk about your food, use your voice, and really project, not just, well, it's good and I made this. Like, no, people really want to hear about what is it and what was your thought process behind it. And, but at the same time, tame down, like, don't give a whole dissertation about what the dish is. Like, they actually learn how to communicate with the guests, learn how to deliver great news and not so good news. Like, I know you wanted that dish, we're completely sold out. Also, when you attend one of our programs, you make yourself a valuable asset to your employer. You're coming back to work with a set of skills that really can bring value to what you do at your job. And then our programs help you turn your job into a career. I think anytime you invest time and money to go to an institution to learn more about what you're passionate about, you are really focusing on making something into a career. And I think that's very important. Brenda, what's our next slide? And that's it. So that's a little bit about, you know, the difference between trade schools and a four-year college. Why would you want one over the other? Kind of like what's happening with the Bureau of Labor and what's being surveyed and reported. Why would you want to come to culinary school? Why would I want to do it if I'm already in the industry? And what our programs can actually do for the people who choose to come to our program. Again, our position is we want to help you make yourself better and turn that job into a career so that it's a great investment for the employer who ends up being so lucky to have you on their staff.
Thank you so much, Les.
You're welcome.
I know we have a small group here, so if you'd like to take yourself off mute and ask any questions of Les or Catherine, you're welcome to, or you are welcome to take advantage of the chat window and place any questions in that space. I love the fact that you teach the students about the front of the house and the back of the house. I think that's most important for those that, you know, have only worked in the back of the house or only worked in the front of the house, so they can understand the pressures on each side of that wall.
Mm-hmm. And likewise with our pastry program, so the culinary students work in Lobdell's, which is the restaurant class that runs in the fall and the spring. It's reservations, fine dining contemporary service. In the summer, Lobdell's converts over to like a coffee cafe, very casual, no reservation. You can come in and bring your computer. You can take things to go, but the pastry students run the cafe. They learn the back of the house. They're running the bakery. They're learning the bakery supervisory role, as well as management of all the different production areas. Likewise, they're learning how to run the front. They have the barista station. They're learning how to work the floor and run it like a small cafe. So they also get that experience too. And it is definitely an eye-opener for every student.
How up to date is the equipment that you're utilizing at Great Lakes Culinary Institute? Meaning, I'm sure that, I mean, it's been a number of years since I've worked in the food and beverage industry, but I'm sure the ovens or, you know, that kind of technology has changed a lot over the years.
Yeah, we have a little bit of everything. We have, you know, your traditional equipment that you're going to see in smaller restaurants. You're just a regular dial and turn it on and press a button, all the way up to the Rationale ovens, which are 100% computer technology. You don't even really need to know how to cook, but you need to know how to program it. Those are ovens that truly are, like I said, 100% computerized. They're used in large convention centers, sporting arenas, cruise lines, where, you know, if you're cooking 1,000 lobster tails, you need every single one to be perfect. So just understanding how to use that equipment. So they get a little bit of everything from small batch equipment, you know, small batch sized equipment to large batch sized, from traditional convection and conventional ovens all the way to the fancy computerized and dual, kind of like dual technology ovens, large mixers, tabletop mixers. So they see quite a bit of different tools and equipment.
What is your shortest and your longest certification program?
So our shortest is the baking certificate. If you stay on track and take classes as they're offered at a full-time or close to full-time schedule, you'll be done in 1 year. Then following that is our culinary certificate. Again, if you follow the course schedule and you are full-time, you can complete that program in a year and a semester, give or take. And then our 2-year degree is exactly that. If you stay on point, you can finish that in 2 years.
Does anyone have any questions for Catherine regarding, go ahead, Carson, I see you're on, or not Carson, I'm sorry, Christy.
That's her son.
My son was the only one that knew how to put it together for me, so. Yeah, I do, and I'm not sure if that's what this meeting was supposed to be about, but my question was about internships and programs, and what do your students do as they get close to graduating? Is that something that you provide, and can local restaurants be a part of that program?
Yes, in fact, next month's seminar is really focused on internships, but I won't make you wait till next month. But
sorry,
the idea is yes, we definitely have an internship program for our students, and we work closely with employers that are local, statewide, regional, and across the country. Once they start getting in locations that are outside of an easy travel distance, we like to create what's called an internship experience. There might be room and board or travel, something as part of the package, but we look for our students to be able to work through that property or that employer's different levels of operation that they're willing to offer to an internship, but to truly make it an experience of the property. Our internships run 350 hours. They can go longer, they just can't go less than 350. And that 350 might be compacted in a 40-hour work week or a few days a week over the course of the summer. We also offer interns in the fall and the winter, depending on where the internship is located.
Okay.
Was that a little helpful?
It is. And I guess if you're going to discuss it at the next webinar, I'll just make sure I'm a part of that. And if I have any other, I mean, I'm sure I'll have some more questions, but I definitely think that's something we'd be interested in being a part of if we could.
That would be great, because we don't really like our students to say, can I just do my internship where I work now? I'm like,
Sure.
We're really looking for you to kind of like break out of your comfort zone and go somewhere else. We love it if they stay local. We also push them to get out of the Traverse City bubble, to just see like what else is out there. I try to push the pastry students out to Vegas a lot. I'm like, your mind will just be turned inside out by seeing all the different things that are out there in the culinary world, and then come back and bring that here to Traverse City so we can improve our current food scene.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, that's so lovely that you expand, you're looking to help burst the bubble, you know, those that are continuing to go to, you know, grow up here, go to NMC, you know, give them the opportunity to travel out and about. Do you work with other culinary institutes, Les, to bring students from those institutes to Traverse City?
We have worked with, I started talking with Kalamazoo as well as Baker College. And while we don't necessarily work with partnering to bring students into our city, those colleges, they deal with some of the same issues that we deal with, whether it's finding good internships, where you're going to find them, low enrollment, great enrollment. I think it's great to know that we're all doing the same thing, and let's partner with what you're doing brainstorm wise. You know, likewise, they might have students that are looking to come up into this area. So it'd be much better if we had that communication with the culinary director and different instructors, because I think it's important. We're all doing the same thing. We're just doing it at different institutions.
We do partner with the high schools, though.
Yes.
So that's a huge portion of our recruiting efforts. And so we're very connected with the career tech centers across the state, as well as locally for the students who are doing their program, or who may be in culinary at their schools, and then trying to transition that over into NMC.
That's great. I didn't even think to mention that. And likewise, knowing that we want to also try to broaden our recruitment efforts outside of the scope of high schools. Again, we're looking at the workforce and who wants to improve their skills to better their career. But also we're looking at maritime activities as well, because for every ship and oil platform that's out on the waters, there's somebody cooking on there. And we would like to be able to help improve the skills of the stewards that are cooking. A lot of the people on ships say food is the best morale booster. And they definitely can tell when the person doesn't really cook as well versus someone who thinks about cooking a family meal on a holiday because everybody's at sea. So that's something we're trying to work with as well.
Yes, I got a question. I know one of your culinary programs has a marketing angle to it. Can you describe some of those career paths that are outside, like just being a chef? I know you described that before, and it was really interesting.
Yes. So we get a lot of students who take our program and they say, you know, I love food. I just really don't want to work at a restaurant or behind the line. I want to be a food blogger. I want to be a food photographer. I'd really like to work for a food-focused magazine. So our culinary sales and marketing program is set up to expose the students to economics, to marketing, and to like small business management, to get them to understand that sales piece, which can be hey, I work for a large food purveyor and I'm going to come in and sell these products to your restaurant or to your school. So that would be like your Cisco, Superior, Gordon Foods. But likewise, we also have sales and marketing, like look at the magazines we have out, like Taste the Local Difference. There are a lot of foodies and chefs that actually work there. We've also got a lot of culinary enthusiasts behind small brands that are starting to emerge in our city. So that degree gives them the culinary training along with the business and the marketing aspect so that they then can venture out into that career path that is still connected with food, but in that business direction. And we're also in the future trying to focus on that food sustainability and food agriculture piece. Again, we have a lot of students who say, I want to own a farm and cook dinners on my farm. Okay, I want to understand more about why our food is doing this and where is it coming from, and I want to improve it, research and development. So those are big booming areas in our career. So we're also starting to look at that for possible program development. Was that helpful? Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? Wow, this is some great information, Les and Catherine. Thank you so much for sharing. And Catherine, are you open to sharing your slides to everyone after
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll send them to you.
Okay,
so you
great.
can have them. Yeah.
Great. So what I'll do is I'll gather these slides and send them back out to all of you along with the recording. And please share them with your networks if you'd like. And then we will be back here again talking with Les and probably have someone else from your team, Les, on, and maybe even Catherine, if there's something new for you to share with regards to grants and scholarships in February. And I believe we'll have that listed on our website within the next week or two. So pay attention to that. Thanks so much for joining us today, everyone. And Les and Catherine for your time.
Thank you.
Take care.